All right. Very good. Hey, guys, you're listening to and watching Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about shortwave, about ham radio, amateur radio, and electronics, and all that kind of good stuff here. Hey, if you're out there listening on WBCQ tonight on International Shortwave, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to Tom at w5kub.com, Tom at w5kub.com. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us where you are and how you're hearing the station. It's coming to you from Monticello, Maine. That's right up on the Canadian border there in Maine, and running relatively low power. It's not a high power station. We're on the transmitter we're on is about 50,000 watts. So, but we still get out and we still have fun on shortwave. So send us that email. Hey, if you will, hit the subscribe button. It's right over here somewhere, right there. Subscribe button is right there. Hit that subscribe button. That'll help us to get YouTube to, show our show to other people that are looking for similar subjects and everything. Hey, our Facebook group we've got 14,000 hams in our Facebook group now. It's called W5KUB. Join it. It kind of follows the show, but it also is just ham radio and every other thing that goes with ham radio. So it's just a great place, and you have a good time if you can join it there. So just key in W5KUB right there in the Facebook search, and you'll get there. Also, let's see, podcast. If you're out there again, hey, you know what? I like getting emails from our podcast listeners. We've got a lot of listeners out there that tune in just for our audio podcast. They don't watch the video, they don't listen to shortwave, but they tune into the podcast audio, either download it or listen to it online, and they can do that day or night, any day of the week. And I usually have that show loaded by the next day after our live show. But if you're out there and you're listening on a podcast, I really need to hear from you. I'd like to hear who you are, where you are. Are you driving? Are you on vacation? Are you at work? Those kind of things. Just would love to hear from you. I don't hear too much from the people out there, but occasionally I get a note when I ask for someone to reply to me. So, hey, be sure and do that. And looking forward to reading your email. Now, tonight is basically a question and answer with Glen and me, and we're going to use the chat. We're going to make you guys work tonight. Now, I do have quite a number of things here that I've got here. A lot of news in ham radio, and a lot of news about various things we're going to be talking about in and out. But the I guess the format of the show tonight, I would like to make it question and answer with Glen and Tom. So put your questions in the chat room. Glen is going to help watch that, and we'll try to answer your questions. And let's just have some fun tonight. Hello back to Ray. Hey, I see Ray there, K5UZZ. I ran into Ray on 40 meters, I think, one night a couple of years ago. And Ray found out about the show, and ever since then, Ray has been tuning into the show, and man, he's one of our faithful followers there. So, hey, Ray, how you doing, man? K5UZZ. What's the shortwave frequency? Okay, the shortwave frequency is 7490 kilohertz, 7490 kilohertz, but our show is on Thursdays from 5 to 7. This show will be heard on Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on WBCQ. We used to run it live. Occasionally we'd have technical issues. We'd have other issues that it just didn't work out really good. Plus, programming on the radio station got changed, and we got bumped a little bit, a half an hour. And to try to keep the show together, I mean, we had an option. We could do an hour of the show, and then we could do the second hour of the show, later. But I wanted to keep it all together, and what we decided to do was just to run the show on Thursday afternoons between 5 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's when you'll hear it there. Let's see. Any other questions? Keep the questions coming in, guys. We want to answer your questions tonight. Now, how you doing, Glenn? And are you able to answer questions tonight, Glenn?
Um, if I answered that, that'd be answering a question.
Well, that is a question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so. How many legs does a multiplication table have? Well, that depends on how many squares it has.
Legs does a multiplication. I didn't know it had legs, does it? A multiplication table. Oh, a multiplication table. Oh, I get it. I get it. Mark P tried to uh, pull one over me there, but
Yeah,
yeah. Uh-huh.
but
Yeah. Well, we won't take any more questions from Mark tonight. Hey, man, you looking all refreshed and you must have got a good night's sleep, man. You got a grin on you and everything.
actually, it wasn't too bad. I've been working from home while the cat recovers. She's doing well. The vet saw her yesterday and says she has one more week of the cone, but doing okay. But yeah, it's a lot easier when you're not worrying about it day and night. And she's now turned loose in the other room, so she's no longer totally caged. So that's an improvement. And like I say, I've been staying home, so I've been not having to get up early and drive to work. So that's a lot easier.
Well, that's good, man. You look refreshed and everything, man. Hey, if we get a lot, hey, we may get so many questions tonight. We may be on here till midnight.
Oh, that'll be fine. I don't have any. I don't. I'm not going into work until next Tuesday. I work from
All
home.
right. Well, let me tell you a secret, man. I slept till 10 o'clock yesterday. 10 o'clock, man. That's normally a little later than I normally sleep, I'm up about 8:30, 9 o'clock, But people might say, why you sleep so late? Well, we're kind of late nighters around here, Glenn. We stay up. We're on the internet and we're watching TV till 2 o'clock in the morning, man. So,
That would be me if I didn't have to
yeah.
go to work and get up at 5 a.m. This is why I can't wait to retire. First thing I'm going to do is sleep until noon.
Yeah. And that's fun, man.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it when you retire there.
Oh, I can't wait. It's coming, but now I've got a vet bill to pay off that's probably more expensive than your amplifiers. So,
well, you should have got that animal insurance.
Should have.
Get the insurance, man. And hey, what's this? You need the life insurance too for the life end. I mean, the final expenses. I hear. Well, let me tell you. I heard on the radio it was this past year. Somebody was talking on the radio on FM about a cat and it needed a new hip, and it was going to cost something like $5,000 for get a new hip for this cat. And the guy says, "Well, I'll just get me another cat." So
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So
here they go with the joke questions. They're not asking technical questions.
Well, let's see. We got a joke question. Let's see.
Yeah, what's stronger than steel but can't handle the sun?
Well, let me look at it. Wait a minute. And multiplication. I see the multiplication table. I don't see that question.
What's high in the middle and round on both ends?
Wait a minute. I don't see that question.
Oh, it's Mark. Mark asked this one. What is stronger than steel but can't handle the sun?
Is that before the multiplication table?
After. Andy, mine was closer to $7,000.
It did that. I didn't get that. I didn't get that chat.
Yeah. Look at 2014-51.
Okay. Well, I go 2014-50 to 2014-56.
Well, your time is different than mine then.
So, but something was going on during that time. It says W5KB sets mode to plus Z and plus I and plus W. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all right.
But the question is, what is stronger than steel but can't handle the sun?
Strong and steel. Well, now, since that message went to you, I think you're going to have to answer.
Oh, I don't have a chance because, the only thing I could do with it, if it can't handle the sun, I'd say it has to go on at night.
Kryptonite, maybe? I don't know.
Nah.
Can't handle the sun.
Stronger than steel, but can't handle the sun.
Let me think about that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's ice.
Stronger than steel? Is ice stronger than steel?
Well, that's what he claims. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know what? Maybe we'll in the lab over here. Maybe next week we'll test that.
We'll
I'll
test
get some
that.
steel. I'll get us a steel beam, and I'll get some ice, and we'll see which one we can break.
Yeah.
I'll hit it with a hatchet. And see which one to break here. Okay.
The other one he did, I actually had the answer to that one. And what is high in the middle and round on both ends, and that's Ohio.
All right, I got you. Yeah.
Come on. Let's make these technical questions, man.
All right.
Not
All right.
these.
Yeah. All right. We're going to leave the joke questions for people in the chat room. We won't answer too many more of those. Okay. All right. So let's see what's going on here. Okay. So good. You're about ready to retire. You're still working on your book. The cat's doing okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been working my tail off on the book. I'm finishing up a project right now. Can't even remember. Oh, yeah. Gonna finish that one and probably start a new one here this weekend. And so the projects are rolling right along, and we're on time to get that one delivered. And then I'm going to take a break. This one is due on the 1st of October, and I'm going to take a little break and relax, and that'll probably be about the time I retire as well. So just retire,
right.
Take a world cruise, something like that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've taken a number of cruises. I really enjoy them, man. Hey, okay, let's see. Let's see if I'm working now. All right. Boy, I'm getting a lot of stuff coming in now. Boy, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Pi and square K. Okay.
So what's the square
what happened? What happened was it said my ID was already in use or something. I don't even think I was online. Let's see.
You bounced in and out of the chat room,
now,
maybe.
I got bounced out. Okay, hey, you will be going to Huntsville. That's going to be here soon.
I will be doing a presentation in Huntsville. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do, but it will be roughly Arduino based for sure.
All right, well, good. Hey, I'm thinking about bringing the band back together. Do you want to join us with the band there in Huntsville?
I'm not band material.
Well, I mean, you've seen our videos of our band, right?
Yeah, I'm not band material.
You would fit in okay. You'd fit in.
I could be the drum.
You'd fit in okay. I'm really seriously considering bringing the band back together when we go to Huntsville.
Well, which song were you talking about doing?
Well, I don't know yet. We usually let Richard Stubbs pick the song.
Because you had a good one a few months ago, I think, that you were talking about doing.
Well, the first one we did as a group was Bad to the Bone.
Yeah.
Bad to the Bone. But, and then the last one, what was the last one we did? Man, I don't even remember.
I can't remember.
I don't remember now. I don't remember. So
you're going to have to play that video.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. And hey, that reminded me, I was going to look at here. I got, right here. Look at this, guys. Let me dig them out while I'm thinking about it. And I might.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Soul Man. Soul Man. All right, let's see. There we go. That's Soul Man. This one right here. You can get, if anybody wants this. Regular $49.95, but it's on sale right now for $2.99. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable Band. This is Soul Man here, and then we had here's our first album right here. This is Bad to the Bone right here. Bad to the Bone, and this is a pretty good one here too. What's the price on this? $19.95 for Bad to the Bone. It still pulls quite a bit of money there. But anyway, hey, we may just bring a bunch of these to Huntsville, and maybe we can make a killing on them.
Yeah, there you go.
We're due for a new song, and if I can get the band together. The problem is it's like pulling teeth to get the band together. Yeah. Hey, so Huntsville. We're talking about Huntsville. Huntsville's Hamfest, Huntsville, Alabama. The thing I hate about Twitter and stuff. People post and they say, "Oh, we're getting hail the size of softballs," but they don't put where they are. And come to the XYZ Ham Fest. It's going to be great this year. Well, where's XYZ Ham Fest? So I need to start saying, when we talk about Huntsville, we got a lot of viewers here that don't know what state Huntsville's in. And I imagine if you do a lookup, Huntsville's in a bunch of states, but the Huntsville Ham Fest is going to be in Huntsville, Alabama. All right. And I think I saw Brent was going to be there this year. He's got him a room over to the Marriott or somewhere next door. So I'm glad to see him getting there. So, hey, that's going to be somewhere around late August.
It's like the 18th. Here, I'll look it up real quick.
18th or something like that. That's, you know what? That's only 8 weeks away, isn't it? Let's see.
That's
June
scary.
to July. That's only 8 weeks away, man.
That's getting scary.
So, wow, yep. That's closer. That's closer than I thought. So we're going to see all you guys down at Huntsville. We'll have a lot of prizes for you and everything there too.
Yeah. Speaking of August 19th and 20th.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, speaking of Ham Fest, Hamvention put out their numbers. They said they had 33,000 plus, which was, I think, a new record for them, probably. Hey, and Hamcation, they put out their numbers. Hamcation wasn't too far behind. They had 21,830. So, man, Hamcation is getting on up there in size.
Yeah, when it like 33,100.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite impressive. And not at any point it never felt like that many. You didn't feel crowded. The venue is just that spread out that you could tell there were a lot of people there, but you just didn't feel it. You weren't closed in.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, they got plenty of room. Just like, I think they got more room than Hamvention has now down in Orlando. I mean, that's a big place. That's a big place, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say the size is just about the same, really.
It could be, yeah.
When you take into account the flea market areas.
Can you imagine trying to walk around and see all that?
I did.
That would be almost impossible, man. But
no, I walked every inch of that whole thing.
Man.
It's on what was it? Friday, I walked 4.7 miles, and on Saturday, I walked 2.8.
Well, hey, both of them are getting big. 21,000, 22,000, 33,000. They're both pretty big. Now, Huntsville's not near as big. Huntsville's about maybe 5,000, 6,000 maybe. But it's really a good one to go to. I mean, I rated up there really high. You'll really enjoy it.
Yes.
Like at Dayton or wherever, when you're trying to look at something that's raining on you or it's cold, you can't look as long. But boy, at Huntsville, you can stand right there in that air condition, and you can look at that thing as long as you want to, man. So
that's the cool thing about Huntsville is there's no weather issues. I mean, there have been years where it was, outside it was like you were in an oven, and inside you're just cool and comfortable. If you stay at the Embassy Suites, you're just short walk from there to the Ham Fest. And I mean, I love it. I'm booked at the Embassy Suites this year, and I just can't wait. And I've got a new forum I want to put together. It's all going to be dependent on time. 8 weeks, man, that's going to come here in no time. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. Now there's a couple things in the chat room. Bill,
I was going to talk about that. We'll talk about that next. The Great Plains Super Launch and Radio High Altitude Balloon Conference is coming up this Friday. down at the University of Alabama Huntsville campus there. Saturday morning, they're going to launch 7 or more balloons flying all kinds of ham radio payloads. They're going to launch both the big weather balloons and also some pico balloons. So that'd be interesting if you can get down to Huntsville to see that and take in some of the forums, the speeches, and meet the people. That would be great. You can go down there. Are we doing field day? Clifton asked if we're doing field day. Well, let me ask Glenn first. Glenn, are we doing field day?
Well, you might be able to. I've got other things going on that day, so I'm probably not going to be able to do it this year.
Oh, man.
Well,
okay. Well, I'm going to go. I'll probably go to the Memphis field day. They have 3 of the local clubs, I think, gets together to put on the Memphis one.
Yeah,
I'll take the camera out there and we'll do some video of it. It wasn't real exciting last year. Didn't have much video, but that reminds me, guys. We mentioned it last week. If you want us to spotlight or highlight or spotlight your ham radio event field day, your club or whatever. Or, hey, even if you're just going out, you and a friend are doing field day somewhere, make a video, send it to us, maybe a 5-minute video, and send us a video, and we'll have it, because I do want to do field day on the Tuesday night show to show people some of the fun that some people have around here. And, hey, don't forget to show the food, the cooking. I want to see all the steaks cooking and the pork chops cooking, hot dogs, all that. Boy, I'm getting hungry already.
Man, already.
Yeah.
Well, the Olive Branch and Hernando clubs are going to be down at the Hernando Point campground south of me, and then the Memphis clubs are going to be there at the Germantown Park. So those are the local choices this year. They're not going to be at the Olive Branch Park this year.
Yeah, now Memphis moved last year or year before. I used to go up to see them. They were out there right off Pike. What is it?
Poplar Pike.
Poplar Pike right there, by the train tracks. But they moved. I went out there a couple of years ago, and they weren't there. And I said, where are they? But they're up, where Excelsior or whatever that street is, Excelsior, it goes north there. There's a park up there. That's where they moved to. All right, so again, we'd like to get you on here. Take your smartphone, do some video for us. And if you'd like to come on, just send it to us, send it to me. I'll get it on the show. And we will also, if you'd like to come on the show and just talk about your video, we'd love to have you there. Hey, here's a note right here, man. Oklahoma repeater destroyed by fire. And this was one of their Skywarn repeaters. Boy, they really, down in southern Oklahoma, I lived out there for a couple of years, southern Oklahoma, at Altus, Oklahoma. And that was Tornado Alley. We had 18 tornadoes one night there at our house. And so this repeater is down in southern Oklahoma. Skywarn, the Red Cross, and other emergency communications groups are all involved with it. But listen to this. A controlled burn got out of control and was responsible for the destruction of the W5 BLW repeater.
Not sure you can call it a controlled burn if it's out of control.
Yeah, so let me rephrase this news flash. A out of control burn was apparently responsible for the destruction of the W5 BLW repeater in southern Oklahoma. So there you go, folks. Watch those uncontrollable burns, And I don't know if that's a burn or a scrape right there. I think that's a scrape. It looks like a burn, but I think it's a scrape.
I would say it's a scrape because it wasn't hot enough to burn you yet.
Yeah,
it was the other day, but not recently.
Yeah, I was putting those lights in, and I had a circuit turned on. It's just 12 volts, 12 volts, but it's AC. And I didn't think I'd get much zap from 12 volts, but I think that AC got me. I got down in one of those holes and got across that wire, and I felt the AC, let me tell you. So I don't know. Typically, 12 volts don't bother me, but I think
Yeah.
12 volts DC don't bother me, but I think 12 volts AC, you get down there where the ground's moist, it might kind of bother you.
Well, I
You
think
know.
there you go. It's the ground is moist, so you lowered your
Yeah,
resistance.
yeah,
There
yeah.
was a big controversy over which is more dangerous, DC or AC, and I don't think they ever truly resolved that one.
Oh, well, I think DC, and I think AC. Well, no, I think AC is.
Edison
I,
was trying to convince the world that AC was more dangerous and put out his DC for power.
yeah, that was who, Emerson, or no? Who
Edison,
was it? Edison.
Thomas Edison.
Wasn't it Edison and Tesla? Not
Correct.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla. They were in an
Tesla was
argument.
AC and Edison was DC.
Yeah, but the AC. While we're on the subject, AC is the only way to go, man. I mean, that's the only way you can get it across the country. You can't
Yeah.
step up. You can't step up DC with a transformer.
Right. And that, of course, you got to remember that was the early days of understanding power transmission.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, AC is definitely the answer, because of, just the ability to step it up and down, and that the current load goes with that accordingly. So a power line that big around can carry 30, 40,000 amps at 100,000 volts.
Yeah, yeah. So it's nothing now, man, to run 138,000 volts down the wire down there, across the country there. So, hey, that's kind of cool, man. Watch these uncontrolled burns. Let's see, what do we got here? Hey, news flash, guys. What do you think about this, Glenn? Vacuum tube manufacturing is making a comeback in the United States.
Yes, mainly for the audio amplifiers. They've come back full circle and have decided that warm sound, that audio warmth sound coming out of tubes is better than the sharper semiconductor. And we knew that early on in the transistor world.
Well,
and it's kind of like vinyl versus CDs.
Yeah, I'm not I don't know why my chat room's not scrolling. So I'm not a real audio buff. I don't go in for all this, AM broadcast quality on 80 meters and stuff like that. I mean, I don't even know how. So when I hear, 100-watt transistor amp versus a 100-watt tube amp, I don't know if I could tell a difference. I could if it were side by side. But, to me, the music's the music, and both sound pretty good. But, yeah, you're right. The tubes for amplifiers is one of the things driving this. It says hams and musicians basically are the customers, for these tubes.
Yeah.
They have a distinctive sound. And for years now, tubes have been manufactured mostly in Russia and China. And I don't think we can count on Russia or China that much longer, man, to give us everything that we want,
Exactly.
Or what we know. And hey, I'm worried about one thing, man. The medicine you give your cats, that comes from China, man. And if China just wanted to cut us off, they could cut us off with cat medicine just like that, man.
Oh, it's not just cat medicine. It's darn near everything.
I mean, they could cut us off just like that, and we would be in bad shape. I'm hoping that we can bring back, a lot of things in this country, like medicine and chips, solid state stuff, and tubes, especially tubes here. So that's pretty good. Let me see what's on my chat room.
I was reading something about there's another process that's very complex and involved. And there's only one place over in Europe that can really do it. And these machines are just multi-million-dollar machines. And there's only like 4 or 5 of them in the world. And they're trying to get them back over to the United States. I want to say it's the very, very, very small chip manufacturing machines to cut 2 nanometer transistors is what I believe it was. Don't have anything.
There are actually individuals that make tubes. I mean,
Yes.
they blow the glass and seal it and vacuum pump it and all that stuff. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what success they have.
Well, there are some that do their own tubes, and again, it falls back to that audio for music and everything. It's just got a better sound quality uh, for that, and they prefer the tubes. And if they have to, they'll make their own. And it's also kind of like, why do we build things? Let's see if I can do this and do it
Yep.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hey, I see Ron. I see Ron here, K9 ID Ron, and boys, hey, he's gonna be there at Huntsville. If you need your hat and shirts made, go by and see Ron there at Huntsville, and he'll do it up for you. He's got a big operation. Boy, I mean, I never saw him turning out so many hats and shirts last year there. I mean,
he was busy at Dayton and in Orlando.
Yeah, yeah. And Ron, they're always good there. They usually give us some prizes to give out on our webcast. So, Ron, we'll be asking you for some more hats, man, when we do Huntsville. So get them ready there. Let's see. My chat room is not moving. Let's see, extra field day bonus. Let's see.
Nope, it's scrolling for me just fine. Ron says
Yeah.
no problem.
Well, I may need to get it all the way to the end. It may be I'm just so far up.
Yeah, Ron says no problem on the hats. So he's got you covered.
Mark says 10,000 volts AC is the same as 10,000 volts DC.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It is virtually the same. I mean, really,
I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that.
I tell you what, you need to do an experiment, but I kind of don't think you need to do it at 10,000 volts.
I mean, there's little circuits that we can put together to get that 10,000 volts. I mean, do you ever watch Electro Boom? You know who I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
He gets shocked and jumps and stuff, and he does a lot of this stuff, to 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 volts, and he's always getting shocked. And
not me.
The last video I saw, he had this Jacob's ladder. It had two wires that went up like this, Jacob's ladder, and he had like 30,000 volts on it. And it fell over on him. It fell over, and he grabbed it. And you should have saw it, man. Anyway.
No, I'll pass. I've seen those things.
Anyway, he grabbed it, and that's when the fireworks started, man. He should not have tried to grab it there. Let's see. All right, AC/DC just knocks you away. Well, I tell you. I'm trying to get to the end. I'm trying to get to the end here.
Well, here's a thought from Mike, and that's RMS voltage is the same, but the actual AC would be a third higher than the DC volts.
Yeah.
Well,
I tell you.
How do you feel it? Do you feel the RMS or do you feel the peak to peak?
Oh, well, I'm not sure what you feel. I want to tell you something. When I was probably 16 years old, I was building a lot of electronic stuff. I came from having access to all things electronic. My uncle had a TV shop. I've talked about this before, and he was probably the only TV repairman in the entire county, and he probably had 75 or 100 junk TVs, and all the chassis were just sitting out, turned on their side. And boy, you needed a 100K resistor, you go there and just clip it out. Clip out a capacitor. You want a can capacitor you can mount? There they are. You want a transformer off a color TV that put out 1,300 volts center tapped, pretty high current. There it is right there on the color TV. In fact, I built amplifiers with that. But I had this power supply there at one time in my house, and back then nobody had these three-prong plugs. Everything was two-prong plugs back then. And even though this chassis had a transformer in it to isolate things, it had a transformer in it, and it upped the voltage to like 450 volts and probably six volts for the filament and a B plus and so forth. I must have, and I can remember today, man, and I'm so thankful. I touched that chassis with both my hands. Now, I may have been barefooted. In my room, we had tile floors. We didn't have carpet. I'm guessing it's possible I could have been barefoot, but I touched that chassis, Glenn, and I could not turn loose of it. I remember this. I could not turn loose, and I backed up, and it fell off of me. And I went for a walk after that, just because it was a life-changing experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably 16 years old when that happened, you know. So I don't know. That was a tough shock. That was probably the worst shock I ever got. And I would imagine somehow, that had to have been AC and none of the DC components in there. That chassis. Although the AC should not have been hooked to the chassis, you know, not with that transformer in there. So I don't know.
Well, if the polarity was wrong, you'd have a hot chassis at 110 AC.
Well, not really. Not most things. They have a transformer. The chassis is isolated, but you know, like the old.
Actually, the old Hallicrafters S38 was a hot chassis. So a lot of those.
And especially all these 5-tube
hot chassis.
These 5-tube receivers and stuff. You know, these home receivers. They're all hot chassis. And you're right. You turn that plug over backwards, and back then the plugs weren't even polarized. You turn it over and plug it in backwards, and you know, hey, you pull the knob off that radio and touch that shaft,
you're gonna get zapped.
You'll get zapped there. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I remember the key on my HW16. You know, it was a grounded grid keyer, and if you touched the wrong terminal, you would get zapped.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I think my shock story is I got zapped by a color TV flyback transformer.
Yeah,
you know, be rooting around back in there, and it arced onto my arm and sent me across the room.
Yeah, well, that'll make you jerky. And over my span of teenage years, I changed a bunch of picture tubes out in TVs, helping my uncle.
You always
I could even change them. I could even change them out myself. And hey, you want to get a little bit of higher voltage? You go to a color TV.
Exactly.
I think it had a little bit of higher voltage, but you learn real quick, man. You take that screwdriver and alligator clip and you stick it under that little suction cup.
You should make sure you grounded that thing.
Yeah, you just kind of listen for that spark there, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
People these days don't know how good they've got it when you've got nothing but 5 volts USB powering everything.
Yeah, you know, things are so much safer today. I mean, everything's safer today, Glenn. Everything. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how we grew up and we made it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, oh, man. You know, like, Glenn, I mean, I watch my Arkansas State Police, pit maneuvers and stuff at 140 miles an hour. And every now and then, the car rolls. It turns over and it rolls, you know? Mm-hmm. And most of the time, there are a few fatalities, but most of the time, the person walks out of that car unscratched. And I saw one the other night. The car was actually cut in half. I'll save that for you, Glenn. The car was cut in half. Now the lady was taken to the hospital. She was groaning and hurting. But what I'm going to say is, things have changed. You're talking about the 5 volts now. Things are pretty safe, man. You know, I'm not going to pick up a 5-volt chassis and get electrocuted here, you know.
No, that was the thing back in the day when I first started out in the field. One of my earlier jobs was, started out on the mini computers. And my gosh, we didn't have a voltage higher than 12 volts. And I'm like, I can't kill myself reaching my hand inside this thing. You know, and that was actually a consideration back then.
Mark's talking about the worst burn is RF burning. When I was in college, I should have been studying in college, but instead I was in the floor of my dorm room building transmitters. And I had a 150 watt transmitter I kept under the bed there, and I had it out. It was out of case, and somehow I got my little finger up next to that parasitic suppressor that goes to plates of those, I think it was 6146s. And somehow, boy, it burnt to the bone. I mean, it went through the skin. It burnt to the bone, and it did hurt.
Oh yeah.
That's a shock that stays with you, whereas another, a non-RF shock is just shocking and it's over with,
No, I mean, you
Let's
can
see.
see the RF burn literally charge your skin.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
yeah.
my friend Ross W5ZNW from Altus, Oklahoma zone. I've got memories of two places. That's my memories of my college days over at Russellville, Arkansas, and my memories of being in Altus, Oklahoma, in the Air Force. And when I first saw Ross on here a couple weeks ago, I thought my mind thought he was in Russellville growing up, but he was in Altus, and he corrected me. Uh, yeah, Ross says when he was 12, he built a Jacob's ladder power source from a neon light display. I bet they had a lot of current. Those neon light displays aren't light,
No, those were usually like 10,000 volts and some
Yeah,
pretty decent current.
yeah,
That's what we used to build Jacob's ladders in electronics
yeah.
class. So yeah, those were some hefty devices.
Well, that would be a tough shock, I think. I I don't guess they're making. Are they still making a lot of neon lights now, or do you think stuff's going more solid state? What do you think?
I think it's all going LED and solid
Yeah,
state now. I
yeah.
mean, they're even doing stadium lighting with high power LEDs. So yeah.
Well, I want to know how can they make one of those big TV screens work? It's like 100 feet across, man.
I have no idea.
That's got to be some screen, man. I don't know, bunch of LEDs in it.
You should see the heat sinks that they use for those LEDs.
Hey, you know what? I took one of my old landscape lights that was no good. I brought it in here, opened it up. It had one little LED in it, just one.
Mm-hmm.
And on the back, it had this thing. It was about an inch long. It was about a 3/8 inch wide, 3/8 inch tall, and an inch long. Silver. It was on the back side of the board. And I thought, what is this component? Is it like a transformer or something? And I unscrewed it, and that was the heat sink off the back of that one little LED. Man.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, let's see.
Bill Brown's talking about Gordon West sticking a pickle with two nails hooked to a key and a wall cord. Pickle would glow and smoke, actually created RF static you can hear on the radio. Pickle powered spark gap.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the things we did in our younger years and got away with,
Oh yeah, yeah.
That haul us away.
Hey, I don't know if any of my friends were on Russellville. My favorite eating place burned down last week. The Old South burned down last week. I won't say any more about it. Hey, use it or lose it. Use it next item here. Use it or lose it, man. It says here the National Telecommunications Information Agency, which jointly administers the U.S. spectrum for the FCC, they're working on a national spectrum strategy with a goal of identifying at least 1,500 megahertz of spectrum that can be repurposed. So they're looking for 1,500 megahertz of space, man. That's pretty big.
It's 1.5 gigahertz.
That's a lot, and they're looking for that. Now, a lot of our ham frequencies up in the UHF and higher bands, a lot of it is shared for government use. For instance, our 2.4 band, the Wi-Fi band, it's shared. Part of that is shared with the ham band. So I don't know. I'm not sure who gets priority over that. I guess the hams do on that one since they're licensed. But
actually, hams tend to get the secondary allocations.
Yeah, but I imagine in this case, 1500 megahertz to be repurposed for the growing demand for wireless applications and other advanced technology. Uh, the new spectrum bands for potential repurposing will spur competition and innovation for years to come. Let's see what it's for. The huge growth in connected vehicles. That's what it's for. They figure a vehicle is going to need bandwidth, it's going to drive us down the road by itself, or, you're going to have satellite communications, and you're going to have tracking, and you're going to have everything. So they need 1500 megahertz of bandwidth for vehicles here.
Exactly.
Heading to the moon. Another news flash, heading to the moon here. 3 of the 4 astronauts selected for next year's planned mission to orbit the moon are licensed hams. And we'll see, it's easy talking to the astronauts as they circle in the IIS, not the IS, International ISS.
ISS.
Get that right. It's pretty easy talking to them, but I wonder how it's going to be when they ham radio-wise as they travel toward the moon. We're talking 200,000 miles away, 220,000 miles away. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see how that works. But I'm up for trying to talk to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's cool that 3 of the 4 astronauts are hams.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Russ says we used to carry 4-foot fluorescent tubes to the 10,000 watt transmitter doghouse at night. They'd light up. Hey, when I was in Korea, and I had my ham radio station over there, I had I put a vertical up on top of my barracks. And somewhere I came up with like an 8-foot fluorescent tube. And I took it up there, and I think I taped it to the antenna. So when I transmitted, the fluorescent tube would light up. Let's see. All right, hey, we're going to take just a quick break. We'll be back in about 60 seconds, guys. Don't go away. Got cabin fever? Look no further. Spring is in the air, and ICOM has just what you're looking for. We have top quality base stations, mobiles, and handhelds that are perfect for working your favorite bands. ICOM's newest amateur FM transceiver is the IC V3500. With a compact body and simple interface, this radio is a must for those looking for a long-range mobile with a fresh look. The ICT-10 is a rugged portable that meets or exceeds standard military testing. With an IP67 waterproof rating, the ICT-10 can withstand any field activities ahead. Hear transmissions and listen to FM broadcasts with the loud 1500 milliwatt speaker. The ID5100A is innovation and mobility taken to the next level. Designed from user input, the ID5100 offers an intuitive user interface experience with an industry-leading touchscreen display. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios. All right, we are back. Let me just throw out an announcement again to everybody out there. If you are out there listening on WBCQ, International Shortwave Station, would love to hear from you. You're listening on 7490 kilohertz. Send an email to tom@w5kub.com. We'd also like to invite you to join our live show on Tuesday nights just by going to w5kub.com. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock p.m., and we have a chat room. You can join us, and you can watch our video. Join our Facebook group. Just key in W5KUB in the search bar. Join our Facebook group. Right down here, right there. Click the subscribe button. That's a great way to support us if you'll hit that subscribe button. Really like you to do that for us, if you will. Let's see. Hey, let me give you an update. Update on W5KUB 113. W5KB 113 is now in its 250th day, and that's the path it took right there. We started off from western Tennessee. Looks like we made about 4 trips around the world in the northern hemisphere, and then it went south through Africa, and it stayed down in Antarctica ever since then. So you can see we've got a bunch of trips around down in Antarctica. It's been up 250 days. We call that one W5KB 113 heavy because it's about 3 times the weight of what we normally launch. That one has redundant, 2 different 7-cell solar cell panels to try to help with low light. We also to give us a little bit more voltage and current. We're also running a 100 milliwatt transmitter on that one. So everything took a little bit more space and more weight. So we're over 20 grams flying there. W5KB 112 flew for 320 days. I think it's still flying. We had trouble with it since day one. We had a problem with the transmitter where we didn't get good, reliable communications from it. Sometimes we might not hear from it for a couple of days at a time. And it was getting worse and worse. And after 320 days, it stopped transmitting. Now, we don't think it was coming down just because the altitude was still right at the top where it was when we launched it. So the altitude had not decreased any. So we really think 320 is still flying. It's probably going to make a year around, but we just don't know. We're watching for 112 maybe to wake up any day and just send us a position. And if it'll send us a position, we'll know it's still flying. But it may not ever report back again. So right now, we're just standing by here watching this one, W5KB 113. It's been up 250 days today. It's got a ways to go. It's got 70 days to go to match the record that we have on 112. Maybe this one will fly and transmit for a year. I don't know, but that's quite a long time to keep a balloon in the air. 320 days up to a year. So that's kind of where we are with 112. We're not sending anything else up right now. It's getting so easy to put a balloon in the air. We can just about guarantee you on your first launch now, if you do a certain thing, your balloon's going to go around the world. So it's getting so easy. And it's getting a little boring, so we don't want to put another one up right now. We're kind of waiting to think what we want to do next. We want to do something totally different, so we're studying right now what we want to do. So anyway, that's our status. That's our status on. Let's see. That's our status on 113. Let me see if I can get Glenn back in here.
Oh, I'm here.
I'm trying to get both of us in here. Hide on screen.
Bill wants to know if you can email him that map of 113 flight path.
Sure.
Should be able to go to that URL there, Bill, and screenshot it yourself.
Yeah. Let me show Bill where he can try to get it right now, this moment. I'm going to show you, Bill. I lost my camera. Let's see. Oop. Camera, video. All right, Bill, I'm going to show you something, Bill. I'm going to show you something. All right. I'll show you a simple way to get there, Bill. If you'll go to W5KUB.com, Bill, and if you will, I'm waiting for it. I don't know why it's not loading. All right. Let's see, wrong one. Go to W5KUB. Go to our Facebook, Bill, or not our Facebook, our website. Here we go. I'll get it here in a minute. I'll get it here in a minute. There we go. So I've got a link on our very first page, on our home page, Bill. If you look right here, see the mouse right there? It says new balloon map. This is the balloon map that we developed on our own server. So if you just click on new balloon map right here, that will bring up the balloon map. And then over here in the box, click on balloons and click on 113. Now right now 112 is only showing, so hit the refresh, go back to the box here, hit balloons again and select 113. And if you would, the second box down here where it says 7 days, make that 1 year. Make that 1 year. There you go. And there you go. You got the map. Now I'm going to back out. And you'll see it. Oop. All right. So there's the map right there, Bill. But I can't send you a picture of it, Bill, if you need it. You can also put 112 in there. Let me add 112 in here also. I'm going to put 112 in here. So, and it was 320 days. It was a lot longer. Let's see, 1 year. We're going to put it there. All right, let's see if we get anything here. All right, Bill. So, Bill, if you look at this, we've got 2 balloons on there now. We got 112, which is the red, and we got 113, which is the green down here. So you can see both. You can actually put multiple balloons in here to see it. But I'll send you the pictures of that. I think it's done just a great job here. So we're gonna hide there. Okay, Glenn's going to sleep on us. Everybody wake Glenn up.
Yep.
Bill,
4 o'clock this morning.
Bill, if you hit refresh, you'll be able to get 113 in here. Just hit refresh for the map, and it's a little it's got a little buggy thing to it, but it will work. You should be able to get it. All right. Hey, let's see. We talked about lose it or use it. Let's see. The 1500. We talked about that already, man.
Have they mentioned what bands in particular they're looking at?
They just need 1500 megahertz, man.
Well,
1500 I don't know.
Megahertz is 1.5 gigs, so I'm going to say it's going to have to be,
well, probably not
5 gig and higher.
Probably not altogether. Probably just pieces,
Yeah, but I mean,
they'll probably
going to be the high microwave area.
Yeah, I mean it'd probably be VHF, microwave. They may chisel out, maybe some HF, for something. I don't know. All right, FCC looks for input, guys, right here. The FCC is asking for amateur community to weigh in on the 60 meter ham band. Now, if you guys don't know what the 60 meter ham band is, that's the 5 megahertz band. I've used it once or twice. On my radios, there's not a position for the 5 megahertz band. On the ICOM radios, you got to go to memory, and you can pull it up that way. But so, right now, U.S. amateurs are currently permitted to run up to 100 watts ERP on the 60 meter band. And that was through rules adopted through the WRC 15. I think that's a World Radio Conference back in 2015. Let's see, the band for international rules adopted. Okay. It limits power to the equivalent of 9 watts ERP. Now let's see. Well, let me read that again. U.S. amateurs currently permitted to use 100 watts effective radiated power on the bands, while international rules adopted by the WRC 15 limit power to only 9 watts of ERP on that band. So they're looking for comments from hams. I guess you can find this on the FCC page somewhere. So there's a number, and these you can't use a VFO on 60 meters. These are all channels. For instance, 5351.5 through 5366.5. So these are actually channels. You can't use the VFO. And I think we have 7 channels. I think we have 7 channels here in the U.S. And I think there, or maybe more. I think there's 4 channels that internationally does not have that we have. So I don't know, there could be some changes coming up with that. And that's the WRC, I think 23 comes up. The World Radio Conference, I think maybe comes up every, 5 years or something? I don't know.
Yeah, we're showing 5 channels on the
5?
band chart.
Okay, 5. I think there's a few more channels, which we probably do not have in this part of the world here.
Right. That would be my
okay,
guess.
Bill said he got the map to work there. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see what else going on. Oh, Saskatchewan. All right. So, okay, the questions are starting to get slower. I don't know what's going on here. This is Q&A night with Tom and Glenn. Q&A night. So come on in here with your questions. Okay, W9 TIT says he's on 60 almost every night. I'm gonna have to try to get on there and talk with Rich. That would probably be a good band to work him up there. He's in Wisconsin, so that might be a good band from here to work 5 megahertz.
Well, that would be interesting because it's basically halfway between 40 and 80.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be interesting to try.
Yeah. All right. I'm waiting for a question. waiting. I've already run out of my news, guys. We're out of news. Let's see. Well, maybe not. Let me look here. Oh, okay. I got more news. I got more notes here.
Am I going to have to start taking notes now?
Yeah, I got more notes here. In fact, I must have had some pages stick together here. Hey, here's a good one. People are always complaining about this. Let me find it here. I see the Oklahoma repeater was destroyed. We've talked about vacuum tubes. Heading to the moon. Lose it. Well, all right. I don't have my news here, but I know another topic. And people are always talking about why didn't the FCC crack down on these people that QRM and jam the bands and act crazy. Well, they kind of are. Just recently, N6PJB in California, Bernie, California, he was fined $28,000 for interfering with a 75-meter net. Wow.
Yeah.
I can tell you that guy, I mean, look at that call. N6 peanut. Oh, wait, that's peanut jelly and butter. Hey, there's where we went wrong right there. PJB.
Yep.
I thought it was PBJ. So I don't know, man, but he was fined $28,000. That's out on the public notice there. So I guess and there's a lot of stuff goes on 75 meters, but he was caught for interfering and also not identifying. So that cost him $28,000.
Yeah, makes you wonder, what are these people thinking when they do that?
Yeah. Satellite launch. Hey, this fall, Stanford is launching a couple new satellites, and it's saying here that it's going to let hams actually take a picture from those satellites and maybe send it back to them. So you'll be able to take a picture and somehow send it back to you. Now, I don't know if there'll be a charge for that or not, but that's kind of unique. Nobody else has been doing that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, now that's another thing. I think, didn't they increase the power that you can use for field day this year to 200 watts?
I don't know.
Or did they do that last year as well? But I want to say they've increased your power capability from 100 to 200.
I don't know, but maybe they did. Maybe somebody will know power limits on field day this year. Anybody know?
Yeah, now
Andy says his FT950 has them in channels.
That's correct. Mine did too.
Now, but do you have a switch that says 60 meters? You know, you got 80, yes. 40, 20. You got one that says 60.
Yeah, on the 101 MP, I'm looking at it, and it's got 5 meg, and most of the Yaesu rigs have a 5 meg, and then it's channelized from there.
I'm looking at the ICOM here, the 7610. It does not have a 5 meg button. So I don't know. I know that I have to go to memory or something. I think they're in memory.
Yeah, I'll have to look up on how to get to it in the 101. But yeah, it's just a button for me.
Yeah.
But I've got continuous scrolling, so I'm going to say for the transmit side, I'm going to have to find the button.
Well, Andy says no field day for him. His amplifier is broken. You could probably work field day.
I have never used an amplifier.
Yeah, you can make some contacts without it. Yeah.
Shoot, I get 1,000 plus contacts on 100 watts.
Hey guys, I am planning to talk about amplifier and no amplifier and noise. I'm planning to take a break here, go to North Carolina here in July to our home over there. Some of the family's going, and I'll probably be over a couple weeks, so we'll probably do the show from over there. But it won't be much, it'll probably be about like tonight. We'll probably talk about news items and things happening and question and answer, just to make it simple. But and I'm not going to take my radio. I used to take my my 7300 over there, and an auto antenna tuner, and a long wire to put in a tree and all that. But since then I had built up my remote base here, and maybe I need to show you guys our remote base again pretty soon. I'm using Ham Radio Deluxe right now on it, and it just Ham Radio Deluxe looks beautiful controlling my I've got a TS570 Kenwood on remote base. And of course, Ham Radio Deluxe does not support audio. So the way you make the remote base work is you run Skype. You connect with Skype, and that connects to your speaker and your mic here on this end. So now you have your audio channel, and you bring up, and I use something like TeamView. And I use TeamView, and I bring up Ham Radio Deluxe here in the shack, and it comes right up on that radio, and you see the frequency, you see all the sliders, you see all the knobs, and everything. And I'm getting it back going. I haven't used it in probably a year, but I'm setting it back up today, where I will use that when I go over to North Carolina. Now, we were talking about amplifier versus no amplifier. Where I'm going with this is I'll be 100 watts. I'll be 100 watts only here with the 570. Not going to be running an amplifier or anything. I use on the remote base, I've got a off-center fed antenna out there, which will work multi-bands. And because of that, I can use Ham Radio Deluxe, and I can change the 570 here from any band, 80, 40, 20, 15. And since the antenna works on all those bands, I don't have to, tune the antennas or switch antennas or anything like that. And it would be a little difficult for me to have an amplifier hooked to that because, the amplifier has to tune up on whatever band. I don't have a solid state auto tune amplifier. So we're just going to run 100 watts with our remote base here. That antenna's up about 30 feet in the air out there, but it will work, and I'll have my tablet or my PC there and a little headset with a microphone, and I'll work HF through my remote base back here at home. Let's see. I've tried both the 2000 and the 570 on remote base. I've got the 570 on the remote base now.
Yeah, and Mark is asking, didn't you demo something that ran on a cell phone?
Well, I had another remote base called Pocket RXTX, if you guys remember Pocket RXTX, and it was a pretty slimmed down, but it was a very nice app that you could use for remote base. But I was starting to have some trouble with it, so I've gone back to the Ham Radio Deluxe I have here. Now, anything that you can, if you can from your phone, I can do it from my phone right now. I can just team view into my remote base here and bring up Ham Radio Deluxe, and right here on my phone, I can move the sliders, I can do everything. And of course, I'll have my Skype connection here, and I have audio both ways. And so I really like it. It looks really good. It's really nice for a little cheapy tablet. Nice big, 10-inch screen. It's really, really cool. Really cool. Let's see what Glenn did there. What did you do, Glenn?
I didn't do anything. You just
I saw you. I saw you.
You just dropped me off.
No, I saw you, man. Glenn loves his app. Glenn loves the app.
No, I do not love this app. Chris wants to know what bands you're going to be running when you're remote.
Well, I don't know. I'll be able to run any band. I mean, it just depends. Time of day, I guess. 80 is no good during the day. Probably during the day, probably something like 20. At night, probably 40 or 80. I can run any band from over there through the remote base. Yep. Okay. And field day is coming up. What was field day? 24th or
24th and 25th? It's 2 weeks from it's Saturday after next.
Yeah. All right. All right. So that's kind of what let me tell you. I don't want to get on a rant or a rave here, but I got this issue. I don't know. Google, Microsoft, Skype, they're all the same people. And I had multiple Skype accounts set up. We use Skype for our show, used to, and I had Skype set up for my remote base, and I had to have another Skype account set up to call into it, So I had multiple things. Now, Microsoft owns Skype, and if you got one Microsoft account, that's pretty much it. And if you log on through Microsoft, that's the account you're on. And I'm having all kinds of trouble switching. I finally got it working. I spent 4 or 5 hours a day trying to get the remote Skype end working. And it was just terrible. But we got that part working, so I think tomorrow I'll be able to actually fine-tune everything, get some contacts, make some contacts on it. You know, I'm thinking I could probably set the satellite system up to work remote.
Yeah, you could.
Uh, because the antenna systems are automatic. They're going to follow the satellites, and my
It's got a
Skype
web
would,
browser interface, so
yeah,
yeah.
and the Skype would bring up the audio back and forth in it. So I could actually do that. Now, it might be something that we try to do a little later down the road.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I was going to try to build a little project maybe for the show next week. I was going to build a regen receiver.
Cool.
And I was going to build a regen receiver. And I had a couple of diagrams. And I saw the guy using it on YouTube, and it sounded terrible. It was awful. I think it could be improved. So I decided not to go with regen receiver. So I may just build up a receiver that's not regen. You know, something simple you can build out of the junk box. You know, 3 transistors, 4 transistors max, maybe 2 transistors, and maybe use a little LM380. What is it? 386.
386. Now you actually know the 386 has been discontinued.
Oh, has it?
Well, TI has discontinued it, but it's still available from other sources. They've got a new replacement, 14 something. Let me look that up.
Well, I've got probably a bunch of them here, but you know, hey, maybe I build up a little two transistor shortwave receiver and use a LM386 or something for the audio amp.
I still use the LM386.
Yeah,
you can still get them. It's the LM4862.
Oh boy.
The issue with that is it is a surface mount component, whereas the 386 you can get it in the through hole SIP or the dip arrangement.
Yeah.
So I prefer the 386. They're still available, but TI has officially discontinued.
Yeah.
The 386.
They asked if I still have the rig pie. I do still have the rig pie here. I haven't used it. I was part of helping to evaluate the rig pie, and it got to where there were being firmware changes like every single day, and I hated upgrading that. And it also used a program called Mumble for audio, and I don't know why the developer picked Mumble to be the audio, because Mumble was just as hard or harder to set up and get working than it was the rig pie. You could just as easily use Skype or something that you didn't have to, really set up. If you guys remember that that remote base I had, what was it?
Howard Nurse.
RXTX, the one we were just talking about earlier. It used a Java-based audio that worked both ways. And I guess you had to run a little client, but still, again, it was really almost no setup to it. But
yeah.
So yeah, I still have the rig pie. I'm not using it. It seemed a little tough to use. I kind of like the HRD one I'm using now. Let's see. Yeah, the rig pie. I don't know. I haven't really touched rig pie. I guess it's doing all right. I guess people are buying it and using it now. Maybe they've got it perfected. It was a little more difficult for me to use. And I'm of the old school. I'm an old tube guy, and but I am now 59 years. Boy, I don't know if I'll make 60 or not, but 59 years. And I'm not into a lot of stuff like Glenn. See, Glenn's a young guy there. Glenn's doing all this digital stuff, and he knows all this stuff, and he can program it. I can't program, and so in my lifetime, I worked very little digital. I tried digital out maybe a couple years ago. I played around with some FT8 for 3 or 4 days, and that was about it. That's about the only digital I've ever done. So I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I kind of cut my teeth on teletype, so that's kind of,
Yeah, well, I
I
did too.
really enjoyed teletype when I was young. And so that's
Yeah,
kind of driven my digital side stuff. I mean, I built many a terminal unit and had a Model 15 and then a Kleinschmidt teletype in my room. And just something about that, that mode I really, really enjoyed.
yep. All right, guys, we're getting close to we got a few more minutes for the show here. If anybody has any more questions, this is the Q&A show for Glen and Tom tonight. So better get your questions in. We may not answer them next week.
Yeah,
I didn't tell you the position W5KB 113. It's been up 250 days. It's right now off the French Southern and Arctic lands island. If you want to know where that is, that's down near Antarctica, near Heard Island. Heard Island is just a little bit southeast of where 250 is right now. All right, well, I think we covered a lot tonight. Let's see. Yeah, tonight is the Glen and Tom show. Hey, if anybody would like to come on here with us, we'll make it the Glen, Tom, and somebody else show. We can always do that. So come on in here and join us. And
yeah, and I go
remember,
back to work next week. So you want to see me tired, it'll be next week.
and remember, you can still get Amateur Radio Roundtable Band, Back to the Bone.
Bad to the bone.
Back to the bone. Oh, bad to the bone. Bad to the bone, man. Or you can get the Soul Man version right there. These are all digitally done on CD. Do people still have a CD player nowadays, or is that?
Actually, I do.
Do you?
I actually still burn CDs.
Okay.
But not like I used to. I pretty much moved everything up to thumb drives.
Yeah, like Bad to the Bone, $39.95. But if you need a CD player with it for just another $1.50, we'll throw in a CD player, right?
Pretty much.
All right, guys. All right.
Is it popcorn time?
Yeah, it's popcorn time. Okay, hey guys, thank you for joining us tonight. You've been watching Amateur Radio Roundtable. Tonight was just a kind of general talk about amateur radio news and answer questions that our viewers had. We're glad you tuned in with us. Thank you for being with us. Hit that subscribe button down here. It's over here. It's over. It's right there. Hit that subscribe button right there and join our Facebook group, W5KUB, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us, 73. Good night. And for all you other guys out there at 73s,
I'm going to come and spray paint 73 on your yard.
Yeah, somebody asked if I heard from Martin lately. I was going to call Martin today. I haven't talked to him in a while. I was going to call Martin today. I had some questions, and I need to get Martin back on the show here. And maybe we'll have him on here in a couple weeks. Oh, man. Okay, good night, everybody. It's been fun. 73.